Okay. Let's take a look at the ET live. Did they experience a problem too? Okay, I believe my voice must have come back. That was my mistake. If there was a problem, then I'm happy to start again. Okay. All right. So no problem over there. All right. We are good to continue. So continuing with Bank Nifty. So I was saying that on Bank Nifty, the 3 minutes chart did not give us much. The 15-minute chart gave us a negative indication. Looking at the 75-minute chart, the negative view continues, because here again we see a massive negative divergence had emerged on the 75-minute time frame before the index started correcting. Now, when an index usually shows such a big negative divergence, I wait for that index RSI and on the time frame to come back down to the level of 30 to give, and then start ascending again before I start making positions. Here in Bank Nifty, we can see that index has come back down, but only to the level of 40, not 30. On the 15-minute time frame, remember, the level of 30 was breached, and that is an indication of continuation of weakness. And on the 75-minute time frame, the level of 40 has been reached but not 30. So what I believe is that Bank Nifty has more downside left, which means the banking sector has more downside left. But again, in the banking sector, Bank Nifty does not represent all banks. So I would like to also take a look at the public sector index for this. Oh, sorry, public banks. Okay, wait, let me open my... Please don't judge me on the basis of the list of all my watch lists. Things tend to get away. Anyways. All right, so this is the PSU Bank index, and I have covered this many a times in these market outlook sessions. Now, for this one, I want to show you from the weekly time frame, and what I want to show you here is this. Now, this is a very now this is the reason why I have actually been warning against making strong or big positions in PSU, the public sector public sector banks, since this peak, because here it was supposed to give a breakout. So you can see that this is a strong resistance zone, but here it gave a fake breakout and came back down, and now it's forming a negative divergence on the weekly time frame. Looking at the daily time frame, also not much display of strength here. The 75-minute time frame here gave a small positive divergence. This is when I had advised to take short-term positions in public sector banks, and had given recommendations also, which did well. But again, if you see, the index is not looking very strong. On the 15-minute time frame, there is a very clear negative divergence correction, and then breach of the level of 30 on the public sector bank index also. So this is the reason why, again, I'm not comfortable taking position in any kind of banks. Of course, there are very individual stocks which are doing well. For instance, there is Karur Vyash Bank, which is around 7.5% higher today, and this is one of the banks which I've also covered for some of the members that attend the sessions, and I had commented that it was one of the rare banks which was actually looking good and had some potential to go upside. Now, if you're someone who's holding a position in this bank, then let me tell you, you should definitely go ahead and maintain stop loss. Do not hold the position without a strong stop loss, and your stop loss should not be any lower than 124.6, which at this point of time is around 2.7%. But if you don't have any position and want to make a fresh position, then I would suggest you avoid this counter, because it's quite hot and it's already moved up significantly. if you did enter now, your risk reward ratio would not be very attractive. With that, let's move on to the inter-sector analysis of the Indian stock market. So for that, I have pulled out my intersector chart for you, and I will make this chart look a little bit bigger. So you can see that taking Monday as point 0, where all indices started moving at once from the same point, the beginner has been CNX Realty, followed by CNX FMCG, and how much they gained during this entire week is clearly visible over here. So metal, healthcare, pharma are other winners. Now metal, healthcare and pharma sectors being winners was something that was indicated in many market outlook sessions over the past weeks. Now the infra, energy and PSE sector are other winners. Now the losers are basically determined on the basis of any sector which is trading below the CNX 500, which is this white thick line here, because this is our benchmark for the other sectors. Now we can see that CNX IT has underperformed the CNX 500, which makes sense, right? Because the IT sector has been giving a lot of good rally in some select counters for past few weeks. So I think this week has been more of a resting period. However, for the coming weeks, I am quite bullish on the CNX IT sector as well. In fact, why don't we take a look at it? So this is the CNX IT sector chart, and here you can see that it took a very good support at the level at this support zone. Now if I show you the larger time frame, so the overall trend on the weekly time frame, as you can see, is clearly upwards, and on the daily time frame, if you see, the index is forming a sort of a rounding bottom formation. Now this level is clearly the very important next resistance. In addition to this, we also have this one as an important resistance. Okay, this and then this. So first the index needs to cross above the level, so above this entire zone, which is around level of 30,400, and then it needs to go above the level of 31,600 to reclaim its lost glory. If you look at the daily time frame, what I see is that there has been, the chart is improving for sure. It is not as bullish as it used to be since it formed this peak. So you see this peak was formed against a strong negative divergence, which was a very early indication that the IT sector might be in for a long stretched out beating. I mean, such a strong negative divergence on the daily time frame should always steer you away from stocks, because why take the risk, right? Okay, and here we can see that when this decline was ongoing, the RSI was constantly touching the level of 30. Now even when the stock took this big decline, so this is the biggest decline that was seen in the index since this fall halted here. It was a nearly 16% decline, and yet the RSI did not go back to touch the level of 30. It is an indication that the momentum is turning for the better, right? Now considering that, let's move on to the 75-minute time frame. On the 75-minute time frame, we don't have much to see, but the 15-minute time frame is looking extremely interesting with a strong positive divergence. So now this strong positive divergence is a reason why I would go ahead and take long positions in select IT stocks. Now I will emphasize on the select IT stocks, because of course you cannot blindly go ahead and purchase any stock. So in the next week, I think IT sector would do us pretty good. Now I have already spoken about BankNifty and PSU banks. Let's also take a look at CNX Finance. So on the chart of CNX Finance as well, I see a negative divergence. Usually all these sector charts are quite interconnected. Banking, private bank, public banks, and the finance sector. On the finance sector chart, we also see there is a zone forming here. So again, the finance sector also does not look very attractive. So with this, I have pretty much come to the end of all things that I had to say to you. Now, before I leave you, I will take a quick look at your comments and help you out with your stock queries. So if you have any stocks that you would like me to help you out with, now is a good time to start posting them in the comments. Before I start with helping you in your stock queries, just a small reminder from the ET moderator that if you want to book a one-on-one session with me, you can do so by clicking the link which has already been pasted in the chat. All right, so we have Bharat Kumar today. He's asking about fact. Let's take a look at fact. So I see a strong move unfolding here, supported by very high volumes. It is the second leg of the rally, which started on 28th of March. And the thing is that the upside has already unfolded and the stock has already come to an important trend line. Now, this trend line is actually the edge of the world for this stock right now, because as you can see, there is no space above. So at this point of time, I avoid recommending you to make a fresh position. Moreover, if you see on the weekly time frame, a negative divergence has already formed. On the daily time frame as well, there is a negative divergence clearly visible on the chart, because the price is near the same high, but the RSI is tipping lower, which is indication of the loss of momentum. What about the daily? What about the 75-minute time frame? Now, the 75-minute time frame has shown what is called a hidden negative divergence. And here also there is a negative divergence. So, Bharat, if you're long on fact, so you've already lost significant amount of profit, I would suggest that you book your profits, or what you can do is you can set your stop loss at the level of 365 if you're okay to risk 3% more of your unrealized profits, and set a target for the level of around 406, that is 8% above. So if the stock goes back up to retest the high, get out. If the stock starts falling and breaches the stop loss I've mentioned, get out. Okay, so we have guest and he's asking, or she's asking, about TCS. So TCS again is a IT stock, and I just told you IT sector looks strong. However, TCS is not part of the stocks that I would recommend you to take long position in. There are few things on the charts of TCS which don't make me very comfortable and don't make me want to take a long position just yet. So wait for the stock to cool down a little bit more and then try to make a long position. So Mahesh ji is asking about LTIM-Mindtree. LTI-Mindtree is one of the stocks that I really like, and I can see it's already giving a strong move, but you want to make a fresh entry at this point. Now what I can see is that it is actually very close to a resistance. So Mahesh ji, if you want to make a long position, I would suggest you wait for a breakout in the stock. So you see there is this trend line here which is giving resistance, and there is this green zone which is, you know, nothing but the support resistance zone. That is also present, and the stock did try to go above that, and there is also negative divergence on the 75-minute time frame. So for those who already have long position here, holding on to the position with a stop loss of 4942 is a good idea, but I would not suggest making a fresh position here even for the long term. Okay. All right, moving on. We have guest who was asking about Bajaj Auto. So audience, if you are liking the session and if you learned something new or found any part useful, please don't forget to give a thumbs up to this live stream. It really helps me out. Now let's talk about Bajaj Auto. So Bajaj Auto also is in a very strong uptrend. In fact, it's also taking a very healthy dip right now. So it looks like it's a good time to make fresh entry, because you can see here, let's take a look at the 3-minute time frame. So there is a positive divergence on the 15-minute time frame, but it's not visible very clearly. It's more visible on the 3-minute time frame. So the advantage here is that the risk reward ratio is very attractive. You basically have to put a stop loss at the level of 4618, which is very close to the recent low, and the stop loss is less than 1%, and we can expect this momentum to continue. And from the trend lines that I have drawn in the past, I would expect the stock to go and retest the trend line that's already there. So I would set a target, a conservative target of 5050, which is around 8.5%. So that makes the stock look very attractive right now. All right, moving on. Okay, Lakshmi Priya ji, I've already covered fact. I hope you found that useful. Suresh ji is asking about Sanjeevani. All right, so it's a new stock and I see it is currently very close to resistance. Now it's not a very trendy stock. As you can see, it's a cyclical stock and it has a tendency to come up to the level of 80 and then fall significantly. So the first rally we saw was a massive 58% rally. The drop was also massive, around 90%. A 6x rally and again a 82% drop, again a 6x rally and a 96% drop. I mean, this is insane. I would not suggest you to make any kind of position right now because firstly the stock's movements are very cyclical. Now if you find this stock again at the level of 11 rupees or 3 rupees, go for it, but right now I wouldn't suggest you to do that. All right, Lakshmi Priya ji, you've been answered. We have Aditya Kedia asking about Infosys. Let's see. All right, so Infosys seems to be giving a pretty good rebound here. And so Infosys is a stock that I'm actually bullish on. I like the stock and the way it's moving, even though the earnings did not treat the stock with any mercy. I believe that this was the point where a potential low might have been formed. So for anybody who's looking for a stock to invest in for the long term, Infosys is a good candidate. For the short term, if you want, you can still buy this stock. I mean, it's a little bit late now, so you can still buy it. I think this blue line that you see, the 200 EMA on the 75-minute time frame, will be breached, and I think the stock will continue upward. So I am bullish on this, and I think it can give a good 7-8% upside. So basically 1400 would be the target, and you should maintain a stop loss at the level of 1280. All right, moving on, we have all right, we've already covered that. We have Kirit. What is my view on Aditya Birla Capital for 2 to 3 years perspective? Okay, let's see Aditya Birla Capital. So from what I can see, it has... So Aditya Birla Capital was actually discussed by me a few days back, as you can see, and I set the target of 178. I think it was discussed somewhere here, and the 25% target has already been achieved today. However, for a long-term entry, now is not a very good time, as you can see here, because see, the target that I gave of 178 was on the basis of the momentum which was unfolding here. But if you look at the health of the momentum which is unfolded in the last leg, not very good. So I would expect the stock to come back down and take around a 20-25% correction, and that would potentially be a good time for you to make fresh entries for both short term and long term. But right now I think the stock is already a missed train. There's no point going after it. All right, Mayur Goraji is asking me to talk about Symphony. Okay, I will do that for you. All right, so Symphony, I can see that Symphony is taking support at the strong level of 840, which is very promising. The entry might be a little bit late right now, and I think the stock can come back down to retest this level. Now, if you look at the stock's history, it has barely ever taken support and jumped right back up. It's always almost come back down to retest. So see here, it touched this level went up, came back down, up, down, and then boom. Here it came down, retest, boom. So here again, I think it's gone up, but there is room for it to come back down to retest. See here, when it came to test, look at the RSI, it breached the level of 30. When it came to retest, the RSI did not breach the level of 30, which gave us our positive divergence. Here RSI has again breached the level of 30, which is indicating that the price will most likely come back down to retest the level. 75-minute time frame also is showing some weakness. So we will wait for the stock to come back down close to the level of 840, 845 to make our positions. Right now is a time to wait and watch. So let me actually set an alert. So if you are someone who also uses charts to monitor, this is how you can set alerts on charts so that you don't have to remember levels and watch for them. So there is this tool called parallel channel. All you have to do is draw it on the chart, flanking the price to to the extent where you would want to know if the price has crossed, and then set an alert on it. So just to set the alert, all you have to do is select the drawing, and then on this panel which comes up, just select this alarm clock symbol and set your alert. All right, is it time to exit Axis Bank? We have Shreya with us. Let's see. So Shreya, I would not tell you to exit Axis Bank because the Axis Bank momentum is beautiful. It's amazing. So please continue to hold it. But I will suggest you to maintain a trailing stop loss. Now your trailing stop loss, unfortunately, depending on how much unrealized profits you have, I will suggest you to maintain a trailing stop loss of 959. It's a little bit big, but I think Axis Bank right now has the potential to test the level of 1011. So your risk reward ratio here is around 1 to 1.5, not very attractive. So if you want to, you can also exit the stock idea, like exit your position here, because it is just a matter of time before it goes into correction. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to tighten the stop loss for you. So maintain a stop loss of 971 and the target of 1008. So even if the stop loss gets triggered, you don't lose much, and if the target comes, well and good. All right, hello to you too, Shiv. Okay, so let's look at some more comments. All right, we have a request about the stock. So there is a request for a future stock. So I don't cover futures markets, and I don't look at stocks from a futures trading perspective. So I'm going to ignore that request. ZFCV. Okay, ZFCV. I've never studied this stock. What is this? ZFCom System India Limited. Okay, I don't know. Let me try. So it looks like, okay, so the trend is very strong here, but I would not suggest a fresh entry because, you know, by the rule of mean reversion, the stock is already missed, like you've already missed the train on this. But if you do, so since you've asked for long term, you can see that the stock has a tendency to come back and touch this 200 EMA. So if the stock comes back down to touch this 200 EMA, I would suggest you to take a fresh entry then. Now is not a very good time. Now, how do you know that the stock has set the touch the 200 EMA? It's very simple. You set an alert on TradingView and you forget about it. When the stock will come to the 200 EMA on the daily time frame, you will get an alert about it. Maheshji wants to know about Reliance. There is always one person or the other who asks about Reliance. Okay, so Reliance is giving a pretty strong momentum here, and fresh entry unfortunately is not suggested because again missed train. So always make sure that you're entering stocks before they rally rather than after they rally. When you enter stocks after the rally, you are basically giving somebody who's already booked profits to unload their shares on you, right? You want to be on the other side of the fence. So fresh entry is not recommended in Reliance right now. But if you have an active position, please maintain a trailing stop loss near the level of 2530 with a target of around 2716. So 1.7 and 2716 is around 5.7%. So personally for me, if I have to take any position in any stock, I make sure that the risk reward ratio is minimum 3. And also the potential return should be sizable for me to, so I make my trade setup tempt me to commit capital to it. Okay. So let the trade setup prove to you. Let it show to you that there is enough profit potential. Let it show to you that the risk reward ratio is favorable. Let all the evidences that you're collecting by way of volumes, by way of divergences, by way of momentum study, let all of these evidences be positive and be compelling enough to commit your capital. Okay. All right. So we have Raghava. He's bought Bata India. Raghava, didn't we discuss Bata India in the previous session also? All right. So Bata India, again, strong momentum. Fresh entry not recommended. Current position keep holding, but please maintain a stop loss at the level of 1593. And I think Bata India is showing superb momentum, and this is the trend line, and the potential target is around the level of 1700 and plus. Okay, so we have Midhani Money. Okay, Midhani. Let's see, Midhani. Okay, I think this is the stock, Midhani Nigam. Okay, so let's see. Again, the momentum here is quite strong, so I would suggest you to definitely continue to hold your position. The chart is giving me no reason to tell you to exit it, but again, fresh entry is not suggested at all, because as you can see, the stock and all the moving averages are totally flared out. So if it does start correction, it can if it starts correcting, it can come back down pretty sharply. So you don't want to make a fresh entry right now, but if you have an existing position, you should maintain it with a stop loss at the level of 254. The pain is asking, bought Divis Lab in cash for intraday, but it's below purchase price. Can you please advise positive can hold, else book loss? So the pain, one thing about me is that I don't look at stocks from intraday perspective, and I strongly recommend people against doing intraday trading. You're honestly dealing with too much noise and very little information if you're doing intraday trading. If you pick up any respectable book on technical analysis, they all recommend you against doing intraday trades. So with that in mind, I will still look at the Divis Lab for you, but my analysis and my advice will not be from intraday trade perspective, because I don't know how to do it, simply said. Okay. So the stock is not looking strong at all for a positional swing. Also, there's a strong negative divergence, and the stock, so see, the stock is in a downtrend, strong downtrend, and here the stock is taking resistance. The stock is already above this blue line which you see. This is the 200 EMA of the daily time frame. I know this is a 75-minute chart, but it has been plotted in a way that it reflects what the 200 EMA on the daily time frame would be. So the stock, so it's a weak stock, it's above that EMA, it's showing negative divergence. Daily time frame is also not weak, not strong at all. So I don't think that your long position here is very giving. I would suggest you get out of the stock. Okay, final look. Okay, so we have a guest user and he's asking which stock is suitable for entry. So here I don't give you stock recommendations. However, I will invite you to join my Telegram channel, which you can see on the screen. For your ease, I will also go ahead and share this link in the chat, and you can simply click the chat link to join my Telegram channel. Now on this Telegram channel, I time to time post links to my stock ideas, and you will also learn about the different swing trading subscription plans that I offer. So just one bit of advice to all the viewers here. See, stock market trading is a very, very viable side business if you do it sincerely. Commit some time, commit some capital, and commit some energy to it. Give it 3 to 6 months at least to try it out with all honesty. With respect to analysis and stock picking, don't try to do it by yourself, because stock picking is a very tricky business. Okay, focus more on executing. For stock picks, associate yourself with a qualified and SEBI registered research analyst and depend on them for the analysis bit. If you just focus on managing your active position, like using proper trailing stop losses, exiting stocks, booking your profits on time, not letting your unrealized profits turn into unrealized losses, not holding on to losers for too long, if you're just doing the management bit of your position, your portfolio will thank you greatly. And having long-term portfolio does not mean you don't need to manage your position. You still need to manage your position. So if you want to be active in the stock market, maybe for long-term investment, maybe for SIP, maybe for short-term trading, it is very important that you wake up to the need of associating with a research analyst and make a wise decision. Now with this, I will take your leave. Thank you so much for joining this session. I hope I was able to add some value to you. Don't forget to give a like to this stream. I will see you again on Monday at 2:30 p.m. with the Retail Trader Special Series, where I bring you one topic of knowledge which can help you make your journey in the stock market easier. With this, thank you so much for joining again. Namaste.